Okay, so I wanted to go over the video I made yesterday when I was talking about the high-end breach farm. So first of all, I just wanted to say there was way bigger of a reaction than I expected, which was kind of awesome. So there was quite a lot of questions. So I was saying there was a lot of questions that I want to answer some of them now. So there was a lot of questions about the Atlas tree and then the breach tree, what you should be taking and what nodes to look out for. So since we're trying to get as many rare mobs to spawn after the breach ends and trying to scale their effectiveness, so in terms of the breach tree, it's just taking the effectiveness. The rest of these nodes don't really matter unless you're trying to aim for something specific. You can just stick with lavish if you want. These two other nodes don't really matter much at all, and then all the other ones you will be taken anyway. I wouldn't do this farm unless you have at least the whole breach tree done and your whole atlas done. And in terms of the mods that we're looking for inside the cities, it would just be, this one's a bit of a personal choice. You can pick any of these really. I picked that one because chaos are worth more than exalts, so might as well try and get them, and they do drop quite common. And then in terms of all the other cities, you want to just pick the ones that will end up scaling the rares as much as possible. So forest has good scaling with it. Then same thing, if you get forest or grass, you just pick the effectiveness. And then the same thing with the desert biomes, you pick the effectiveness again. And then make sure this one is set to deserts, because the deserts end up having some of the best scaling for rares, which just makes the farm better. And then again, if you're in the forest, you pick the more rares. The only time you would swap this out to the lineage one, if you're going for, like say, a Jade Isles or Sacred Reservoir, something along those lines, if you wanted to. And then this one doesn't really matter, currency, jewelry, gold, whichever one you want. And then for the mountain, this one is multi-choice, you can kind of pick whatever you want. I was using tablets for a long time and they were dropping quite a lot, so I was kind of just testing out to see how the rarity one feels. That's about it in terms of the atlas points and which ones you want to be taking. This one again is actually a bit, you can kind of pick 3 of these and you should be alright. You can either go for increased chance of modifiers, which makes them a bit harder to deal with but should drop more loot. This one will be spawning another rare, with a chance to spawn another rare. The reason I wouldn't pick this is because it doesn't affect the rares that spawn from the breach. So this one affects all the rares that spawn in the map. This one affects just baseline, the ones that have already spawned without the breach. So it's not the greatest. But I would pick either 1 or 2 of these. But effectiveness, in my opinion, is just better than everything else that's up there. In terms of any other points, Rogue Exile here, again, personal choice. You can go with Essence, go for Summon Circle if you'd like. Again, multiple choice. I think Exiles are just the best one to pick. Again, no here in the middle for effectiveness. That's really all it is for the Atlas tree and the Breach tree. It would be, like I mentioned before, getting as much effectiveness as you can. And in terms of the areas that you want to run, I have a couple of them set up that I'm going to be running and we'll have some highlights of them. So I have one city set up here. This city kind of spawned with 2 different delirium nodes because it didn't spread properly, which is a bit unlucky, so there's only a few maps done. But if this one's set up ready to go later on, there's another city up here for me to do. There's another city here for me to do. Just need to set up the delirium. And as I was saying before, running these outside maps to scale the 10% up to 200 is not needed. So I am literally just going to go from here into all these city maps from 10% and work their way up. You can easily get about 150% from one map, so I wouldn't bother running the maps on the outside. And again, we're going to be using Jado, like I mentioned before, so his points are just, the amount of value that they give is just kind of, like I said before, it's too hard to overlook. There's a few that are kind of changeable here, like If you don't want exceptional bases, you can look for additional unique. But again, it's only powerful map bosses, so it would be like the Citadel bosses. And you can do extra content. I just think these two are kind of the best, because this one lets you seek out more citadels in the area, or more cities, or more Jade Isles, or any of the anomaly maps. You could go for strong boxes over the exceptional items. The cryptic keys are not worth much, but if you wanted to go that way, you could. In terms of the tablets, I'm kind of testing out. So I'm just testing out to see if double effectiveness is worth it. These tablets, again, like I mentioned before, were not cheap. I think they're anywhere from 15 to 20 divines, give or take. But I want to see if you're going to be able to make your money back on these. I'm going to say you probably will, quite easily, even in just a 10 maps. So in the way we're running these maps is you want to be using 2 omens, one for chaotic monsters, one for chaotic quantity, and then you roll them after you're done, obviously, because you want the extra +1 mod. And a lot of these city layouts are not the best for breaches, so when Jado is transforming them over into a different tile set, it's actually quite good, because it usually gives you a decent one afterwards. So you would just simply right click both of these, and then just go away and chaos spam, or not chaos spam, just click chaos once, and then you'll be done. Doing this way, it ends up being a lot cheaper than buying the maps yourself. So if you were looking for, like, say, a minimum 40 effectiveness, 40 item rarity, you'd be paying upwards of 2 to 3 divines a piece, and the omens are costing a lot less for a lot more tries. So what ends up happening then is you end up getting more odds. So instead of paying 3 divs, 2 divs for each of these, you're going to be paying, I think maybe in total for all 20 omens, is probably about the 3 or 4 divine range at the minute with the exchange rate. So it's the possibility of getting more maps that you're able to run is a lot higher than just buying one by one. I mean, if you're really, really lazy, you could go buy them all one by one, but that would eat into your profit quite a bit. So now I'm just gonna run these maps, and after making them, and we'll see some highlights of the drops afterwards. So we are starting this farm before the 10 maps at 889. We'll see how much we have afterwards. Okay, so I'm back. So after those 10 maps, we made so much money, not obviously including an absolutely insane drop. So we started this at 889, as I said before the clips. We're up to 940 in raw divines alone, not including all the chaos that we dropped, all the other greater currency that we dropped. This was insane for 10 maps. We made a lot of money back. This is, so we have 45 divines here, I think another 3 each here on nulls, and then chaos are worth a lot at the minute. So we probably made 25, 30 divs profit, maybe, give or take after those 10 maps. Was absolutely insane, and I'm not going to be counting obviously the Mageblood for profit, because that would just be pointless, because then I could claim it's 600 divs an hour, but obviously it isn't. Just once again, just to show that there is no rarity on this character. There never has been. So all of this is just pure drops from Breach, as you saw from the clips. If there is any questions, let me know. Like this, like I said, this just prints divines. They just drop so often. But yeah, it's incredibly fun to do. So any questions, yeah, let me know.